Thanks for stopping.
Sure, man. Thanks for being here.
What's your name?
My name is Brian.
I'm David.
David, it's a pleasure to meet you.
I or Y?
Wade.
Wade, good to meet you. With an I.
Okay, cool.
Yes. Some would say the correct spelling. I would say the cooler one, but whatever.
What did you say it was again? I'm sorry.
Brian, Brian.
Brian.
And you're Wade and you're David, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
Brian.
Things I believe that others might not. Ooh.
Yep.
Okay. So do you all have a specific context or area of intrigue here?
No, I mean the board does say our expert's always right.
Oh.
But you can choose anything. That's just a prompt.
Are experts always right? Frick no. Can I cuss?
Yeah, you can cuss.
Okay, so fuck no. No, they are not. They are not right at all. No, as a matter of fact, it depends because some experts maintain their integrity and some don't.
Okay.
I don't know. I would say an expert is somebody who's spent a lot of time in their field, somebody who has spent a lot of time and energy and a lot of passion gathering information, logically putting things together. And some of those experts can maintain that even into the 30s, 40s, and 50 years into their fields, and other experts don't.
What about as a group?
Oh, as a group, like groups of experts.
Yes.
Hmm.
Is there anything that you would say you disagree with groups of experts on?
Well, my brain's in too broad of a spot to really kind of pinpoint any one particular group of experts. Let's see. I guess it depends on the context. Like in politics, I would say that groups of experts are, for the most part, just kind of flying by night.
Okay.
Because I find that the whole group expert thing, maybe the think tank concept, a lot of those people are really friggin' cloistered and do not have the experiences of people on the ground in mind when they think their tank.
Okay. Is there any topic in particular that you think, yeah, this group's kind of off on this topic? Or?
And see, this is where my mind's in a little bit of a general spot because
Okay.
yeah, because in my mind right now, a lot of my focus is on Gaza right now, and so for example, like a group like APAC, total shit show, 100% total shit show. That all of their money, according to them, solves all their fucking problems, and they're supposedly experts in their lobbying field, and they are so full of shit.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like they're spending $1 million a day to beat Sherrod Brown right now. Like, how desperate do you got to be that they think they're right?
All right.
They're not.
So do you think so?
Let's see.
Would you say that? Well, that might be too general.
Mm.
Maybe something philosophical. Like, is there anything that you believe about the universe as a whole, like some philosophical ideology or belief?
Yes, consciousness.
Okay.
Our idea of consciousness is extremely stunted.
Okay.
In my personal view, the Earth is alive and conscious. The Earth
Okay.
itself.
All right.
Planetary bodies, stars, celestial matter, energy. Our science knows now that energy never dies. It never is destroyed. It is simply displaced. It changes forms. It moves elsewhere. For example, was it 21 or 23 grams that the body loses at death? There is 21 grams is unaccounted for. Science still can't explain that specific loss of 21 grams, which I have posited, or at least I theorize, that is what some would call the soul or the spirit. Essentially the essence of energy that makes you who you are, the spark of life that is you. That is my best example of what that 21 grams is. But can we prove that? No.
That's the interesting thought. I'm wondering how, let's say, negative 100 is you don't believe it at all. 100% is you believe it absolutely. How confident would you say you are that the Earth is alive and conscious?
Oh, plus 100.
Okay.
Plus 100.
Plus 100.
Yeah. What we know about consciousness, what we know about intelligence, we are just scratching the surface of understanding that birds play games, bees play with balls. Like intelligence, what we think we knew, is kind of juvenile, really. Animals that we once thought were not really sentient or not really able to rationalize, we have now come to find out that no, actually, a lot of those animals are smarter than we are.
Okay.
Because like I said, we know now that birds play games. Birds laugh. Cats laugh. Animals find humor in things.
Okay.
That is something that even 20 years ago was a concept that was almost alien to us. Like we couldn't begin to imagine that. Like we don't even understand how bees fly. Based on our physics, we don't actually understand how bees remain airborne.
Okay.
And then now recently we discovered that bees play. So, in this realm, I would say that, like, you could extend that realization that our knowledge is so lacking to consciousness itself. Look what the Earth's doing in response to our interventions. It's killing us massively. It's on fire. We would call that a natural process, but don't you think maybe the Earth experiences that? We don't know. It's very possible. I choose not to preclude possibility just because I have a lack of understanding or my imagination can't extend that far. And
Gotcha.
doing so has allowed my imagination to extend this far. So I don't know. It's I feel maybe it's a little paradoxical, but in choosing to discount where we would limit our knowledge, I feel like I've expanded the limits of my knowledge.
Gotcha. So the claim, Earth is alive and conscious. I'm wondering if you could elaborate on alive for me, or how you would define it in this context.
Well, how you experience breathing, how you experience thinking, how you experience...
Is this for consciousness or alive?
This is for both.
Oh,
Because
okay.
being alive and being conscious, they're almost intertwined.
Oh, okay.
Your consciousness, being conscious and aware, like, yeah, you can be unconscious and you're still alive, so you're not aware of things, but you're still breathing.
Okay.
Like being asleep, for example, in a very deep sleep is kind of where that is you're probably the closest to death while sleeping.
Okay.
Science also says that. That's been proven, at least correct as far as our science is concerned. And then there's always the possibility that all of our science is junk. We actually know nothing at all. That's kind of where Socrates is at. But the idea that the Earth kind of experiences the horrible shit we're doing to it.
Okay.
Like, it experiences choking for breath. It experiences, like, say, fracking, like how we would experience a flea infestation.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like we live parasitically, and the Earth experiences our life on this planet as parasitical.
Okay. So
Yeah.
basically, the idea of alive and consciousness is just that it has experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. And experiences we can't really fathom
Okay.
because we're not a planet. So there's
Gotcha.
no way we could know. Just like we don't really understand how a bee perceives that it's playing with a ball.
Okay.
But that bee, we could observe it playing with a ball. But we can't get into the mind of that bee and figure out what it's thinking. Same thing with the planet.
Gotcha.
Same thing with a tree, for that matter. We know trees communicate. We don't know. Maybe some scientists are trying to figure out how, but we know they do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of interesting information. I'm wondering if there's any information that you could find, and if you can maybe express what that is, that would increase your confidence in this claim, that would actually make you more confident.
Well, I'm not an arborist, so when it comes to the trees, I'm a little bit at a loss. Other than the idea that, like, in a giant forest, root systems have to intertwine.
Okay.
Because there's not enough room in the ground for each root system to have its own, like, individualized and isolated space. So we know the roots have to intertwine with one another. We know that trees grow together sometimes. They all turn their leaves up for a rainstorm at the same time. Is it instinct? Or maybe are some paying more attention than others? So it's hard to really know. But these theorizing things fascinate me because, like, in the realm of human thought, like, I mean, it wasn't that long ago that we thought that, like, different people of different skin tones and different skull structures have different levels of the ability of intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't that long ago that we thought the Earth was flat.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't that long ago we thought the Earth was the center of the universe. And I'm kind of quoting Men in Black here, but at the same time, like, that philosophical concept is ever present.
Okay.
Imagine what we will know tomorrow.
Yeah, that is interesting. I'm wondering on this claim if there's, so we discussed maybe there's some information that we don't know about yet, but if we figure it out, that would increase your confidence. Is there any information you think of that would decrease your confidence that the claim is true?
Well, when you set something on fire, you don't hear a gigantic resounding "ow."
Oh,
So there's plenty of aspects of this that could lend to the argument of, nah, that's bullshit. Like, if there's a forest fire, the Earth does not scream. But we do know that when you cut the grass screams.
Oh, okay.
That is something that has been observed.
Okay.
Yeah, is when you cut a plant, when you pull a plant from the ground, it expresses itself. It screams. Or at least it gives off the same type. How did they do that? It's like kind of gives off the same type of brain with the same type of energy or waves. I don't know how they measured it, but as like our brains do when we are stimulated in certain ways.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they've just found congruent levels of stimuli producing different reactions from things.
So if we weren't getting these kind of specific reactions from the planet, like you were talking about, like fires and these things.
Yeah.
To you, you're seeing these responses from things that we're doing in terms of interacting with it. So if these weren't occurring, then you might be less convinced that the Earth is a living thing.
I'm not sure if I personally would be less convinced. I mean, it lends itself to the argument in both ways.
Okay.
But me personally, like I'm willing to accept the idea that how we consciously perceive our existence is not the same as how other things consciously perceive their existence.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that the way that I perceive my place on this earth is going to be the same as that bee or a raven or a chicken.
Yeah.
I feel like every creature has its own manner of perception. Like even an amoeba perceives in some way, shape, or form. It's not something that we can like understand as a one-celled organism, as opposed to the billions and trillions of cells we're made of. It's kind of like how some cynical and or predatory person would think that the wolf does not concern itself with the affairs of the sheep.
Mm-hmm.
Type deal, but not in the sense of predator prey, so much in the sense of like complex versus simple. A lot of people, I mean, even in the 1800s, you have medical science is choosing to experiment upon handicapped folk or disabled folk because they perceive them as not being as alive or as conscious or as intelligent enough to even be able to perceive that it's happening. So like experiments would be done on people with certain disabilities simply because they are viewed as fodder.
Okay.
Because they don't fit into that normal paradigm of what it means to be a person.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, so one of the things that I heard you say, correct me if I'm wrong, is that, there are all these things that are happening that we kind of like don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm wondering, if we had, let's say, another person here and they had an ideology that maybe we disagreed with, but they were using the same reasoning, is there a way for us to figure out which one of us is correct if they're appealing to let's say that they believe that, the universe is really part of the back of a turtle shell. And they say, well, we don't know what's really happening here, so it's totally this thing, and maybe they point to some of the shapes of the universe, the curve of the universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they conclude that. Is there a way that we could figure out which one of us was correct, this claim about the Earth being alive or their claim about the universe being on the back of a turtle?
Is there a way?
Yes.
Talk to a CERN scientist, perhaps?
Okay.
I don't necessarily believe at this moment there's a way to really confirm that. I think we're searching for it. Especially because it's just human curiosity is what we do.
Yeah.
We devote so much resources, so much mind to trying to answer these questions. And every time we answer a question, 20 more pop up, which is the fascinating part of science.
Yeah.
And philosophical inquiry, in fact, like the more you delve into the way consciousness asserts itself, the more questions you have about why, about how, about to what end. So as far as a way to prove whether or not that's right or wrong, I can't remember if we actually can see to the end of the universal expanse.
We don't know if we can, as far as I understand.
Exactly. Yeah, see, there's like with technology as it is right now. I'm so sorry. 1 second, please.
You're okay.
Nope, I can answer that later.
Okay.
I just needed to make sure. But yeah, I don't think we have the technology. I don't think we have the know-how at the moment. But we're working towards it.
Would you say that we have the technology and know-how to know that the Earth is alive and conscious, though? Is that different for you?
I think that we might. I think we might, but
Okay.
but I don't think that is really our focus.
Okay.
I think that we are focused on some really rudimentary, stupid bullshit.
Okay.
And as human beings, sharing this planet together, we are far too focused on gaining over others or protecting ourselves from a perceived threat from others than we are about banding together to create a world in which there is no other, because we are all human beings. Like, I was just reading, or either that, or it came up in a class, but I think like 100 years ago or so, certain thinking minds of the day would go out to the world and like, well, I know of French people, I know of English people, I know of Japanese people, but this human being you speak of, I've seen no evidence of a human being, because this person couldn't conceptualize that all these people from all these different places are actually all the same people. You know, like nowadays we and I like to look at this subject through the lens of class solidarity, at least how we're structured right now. Like workers, 99% of people on the planet are working people. We do work to build the lives we want to build. Here in this country, we do work to pay for the lives we want to build, but it's, you know, in other areas of the world, the work is the life. So, you know, looking at it in that lens, 99% of the people on this planet are the same. We are all in the same boat. We are all doing the same things for the same purpose, in different forms, in different areas, in different places of different mind, but we all have the same rudimentary concept that we are working towards, which is a life that we can call satisfying.
Yeah.
You know, there is a very small percentage of people on this planet who are resource hog, who don't have to work, but instead put their energies towards the concept of making sure that stays that way, and that everybody else works for their ability to not work, which that's where that class struggle comes in.
Gotcha.
You know, so there are a very small number of people that don't fit into this category, but they kind of put themselves there.
Is that why, I'm wondering, would you say that there's a relationship between some of the things that you're talking about now and the importance to you of the claim that the Earth is alive and conscious?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Especially in the realm of climate change, when we have so many people who are suffering the negative effects of climate change, you know, sea level rise. There are islands that are gone now, and people lived on those islands. Those islands are gone. California is more on fire. Canada is more on fire. There are more floods in areas that don't normally flood. The Earth is, I mean, one could look at it as like the Earth is speaking to us and telling us we are dead wrong and need to stop what we're doing and change some things, otherwise it will drown us. Like, there are ways that the planet communicates with us, whether or not we want to think that that planet is consciously doing that. Like, hey guys, hey, stop it! Like you know, the neighbor downstairs, party's upstairs. Here's the broomstick. Stop! I gotta work tomorrow. Shut up! Like, that is communication. Whether or not it's done from the basis of what we would perceive as consciously aware, or it's just a quote-unquote natural process, there's no way to know whether that natural process isn't in and of itself a thought process.
Okay, so then I think that's helping me think of another question, which is, if it seems like you can have actual communication between conscious entities, but also you can kind of perceive communication where there isn't necessarily consciousness, is there a way for us to tell that the Earth is doing one and not the other, that it's a conscious entity communicating, or it's not a conscious entity that is communicating?
I am not sure about that specific differentiation, but just like when it comes to human relations and the concept of harm being the rubric to which you determine whether or not someone's actions are right or wrong, based on whether or not they cause harm to other people, is usually the rubric that I operate on. Like, if I did something I did right or wrong, it's like, well, did it harm somebody or myself?
Yeah.
If yes, it was probably the wrong thing to do. If no, then if it's not right, at least there's no harm in it. Now, when it comes to the planet, same rubric. If what we are doing is causing harm to the planet, and if the planet is in return harming us due to that harm, I would say it's wrong.
Okay, that's the important part.
Mhm.
Yeah, because that was going to be another question I had
Yeah.
was, let's say it wasn't true. Let's say that the Earth wasn't, or we concluded that the Earth wasn't alive or consciousness. Does that really change any of the other stuff that you've been talking about, or can all that other stuff be true, but the Earth still not be alive and conscious?
Yeah, I don't think it changes much. Like even if it's not a consciously aware thing, even if it's not alive per se, plants are alive, trees are alive, the grass is alive. Well, barely right now, but it's alive. You know, like plants live. We must consume living things to continue to exist. That's why the whole like no meat, no murder thing is a little bit silly to me, because you murder plants to eat them too.
Mm.
So there's no way to not be a killer of things if you are going to exist. Even the plants kill carbon dioxide and make oxygen. They consume it, they absorb it. It becomes something else. So the idea that it's conscious or not doesn't necessarily impact the fact that we are causing harm to it.
Okay.
You know, like even like a vegetable,
Okay.
a human vegetable
Yeah.
that is just languishing in a hospital bed. First question, Kevorkian, why are we keeping that person alive? Different subject. But if you cut that person, they bleed. That is harmful. You are causing harm to their body, whether they can perceive it or not, whether they can react
Okay.
to it or not,
Okay.
whether they're aware of it or not.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I do want to go back over some of the statements that you made because I've been taking notes.
Yes, please.
You know, you at one point you said like maybe science is kind of bunk. Maybe science really isn't getting us to knowledge,
Yeah,
right?
it's possible.
And that some of these things there's maybe no way to prove them or not.
Time will tell.
Yeah. And then like the sort of we can look at it this way, but it might not necessarily be that way.
Right.
And so I'm wondering, it seems like there is some doubt or or skepticism, or just you being open to other possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if there's a relationship between those things and your 100%. If there's something else that we haven't talked about here that is putting you firmly in 100%, as opposed to it doesn't seem that there's any reflection between your openness and the 100%.
So, I would say that 100%. Bugs like me today. Wow.
Yeah, I think we landed on an ant farm.
I think we did. That's
Yeah.
okay. I do Tai Chi somewhere in the quad, right over top of an ant farm. It's fine.
Okay.
I go into my next class. There's always an ant on me somewhere. But I think the 100% is just a core belief in that I want that to be a thing.
Oh, okay.
I want the planet to be alive. It would be really neat. Because imagine our species surviving long enough that we are actually able to realize this as a fact.
Yeah.
Could we converse with our planet? What about other planets? Could we converse with the cosmos? That would be amazing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I agree,
I think that 100% for me is more of a desire than an evidence-based belief or fact.
Okay.
But the openness comes from an experience of life that has taught me that most everything is possible to a degree, especially when it comes to belief, consciousness, when it comes to how people perceive, how people think. Because those three individuals, that individual right there, you guys, myself, we all are experiencing this very same moment in very different ways.
Okay.
You know, each one of us has our own little framework of reality through which we
Different
view the
perceptions.
shared reality. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
is it fair to say then that the 100% is more about kind of like your desire as opposed to like your knowledge?
Yes,
on it?
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then so I think a final question I have for you is, let's say we have another person and they say, you know, I'm 100% confident that I'm trying to think of something that's a little controversial but not very controversial.
You can be as controversial as you'd like with me if that is your determinant.
Well, I don't want to do it for multiple reasons.
Fair enough.
Okay, I'll be vague about it. Unfortunately, it hits reality. But let's say that someone is 100% confident that some races are inferior to others. And you ask them why, and they say, well, you know, in terms of my desire, I think that's the case. Do you think they should be at 100% because that's what they want to be true, even if they don't have the knowledge to back it up?
Well, I'll say that they have every right to be there.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree with that.
But we have evidence throughout our our lived experience here collectively throughout our science and our philosophical knowledge, that is absolutely not the case.
Okay.
So they have every right to believe that. They can hold to that if they would like to. But their belief in that does not change the fact that evidence speaks contrary to their belief. Now, I have a little bit of safe ground in the fact that what I believe about the planet isn't really provable one way or the other, in a sense.
Okay.
So like I do recognize that that
Gotcha.
belief is a little untouchable. But
Okay.
those are kind of the things that I tend to hold strong beliefs on, other than where evidence goes, nope, that's a thing.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh yeah, you're right, that's totally a thing.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
I think I'm understanding better now.
Yeah.
I guess I do have one final question, though it's kind of open for both of us. I wonder if we could think of anything that we would say, yes, we can figure it out one way or another, but even though this person wants it to be 100% true, they still shouldn't be at 100%. So that's kind of a thought experiment.
So is it leaving room for skeptical doubt?
Yeah.
Leaving room for that. So then a 99.9 would even be maybe a little more prudent.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm wondering if we can think of anything exactly. Like, we can prove, like, I guess we could prove, like, I'm having trouble thinking of something exactly.
Well, the love of a dog.
Or something, I'm sorry, I said it incorrectly. Something we couldn't prove. Yeah,
Couldn't prove.
Yeah, because that's what you're saying about the Earth is alive and conscious, right? Is ultimately we can't know.
Yeah, ultimately
right?
we can't know.
Yeah, so is there anything that
At least not
ultimately
yet.
we can't know, and someone would say, but I want it to be 100%, I want it to be true 100%, but we would still look at it and say, even though you can't know this thing, even though you want it to be true, you shouldn't be at 100%. It's the...
I've been seeing a lot of videos lately on the internets where you got animals, wild animals, who are approaching humans asking for help.
Oh, okay.
And in their way, getting a human's attention to come and rescue, say, their young, got caught in a tar pit or something like that. I think there was one with a deer where their little fawn was caught up in a mud pit or something like that. And the deer came out to the highway or to the roadway or something like that and, like, was trying to get people's attention. And eventually somebody stopped, whoever had the camera or whatever, somebody stopped and, like, got this animal's attention, and it led them to where their young was drowning.
Mm-hmm.
And then they rescued it. Or the one with the bear, where the bear cub was trapped. And the bear came and got the human's attention, the human rescued the bear, and the bears came to visit. Or was that an armadillo? I can't remember. There's been a few of them. But, like, okay. I feel like... Hello.
I do think I've thought of an example now, actually.
It's
kind of the classical one. Like, so let's say that there's, like, a microscopic teapot in between, like, Venus and Earth.
Yeah.
And it's orbiting the sun.
Yeah.
Now, that's something that realistically we can't know right now. And let's say somebody said, I 100% believe it because I want it to be true. Would you look at that and say you shouldn't be 100% confident? Or would you say, yeah, I mean, sure, why not?
Is there a thing like that?
No, is it just that example? We have somebody who believes in Russell's teapot, in a microscopic teapot orbiting the sun.
Okay.
And they say, I'm 100% confident. And we say, why are you 100% confident? They say, because I want it to be true.
Okay.
Would you and I both look at that person and be like, yeah, that's okay to be 100% confident because you want it to be true? Or would we say you shouldn't be so confident just based off of what?
I would say the latter.
Okay.
Based on what we know about the sun's gravitational pull, I would say that it would be really difficult for a teapot to orbit the sun. Like, if you want to believe it, if it makes you happy or fulfilled to believe it, do what makes you happy.
Yeah,
feel what makes you happy to feel. Like, I am accepting of your what I would consider ridiculosity.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be that mean to you. I'm going to maybe point out that the sun's gravity might not let that happen. But I'm also going to point out that if it makes you happy to believe that, go ahead. And I guess the same thing with the earlier example with the inferiority of races. Like, that is clearly not the case. Science tells us that is not the case.
Yeah.
Lived experience tells us that is not the case. If you want to believe that and it makes you happy, how sad for you. But okay, be you. Yeah. Like, I guess if that's what you need to feel fulfilled in life. But how sad of a life is that?
Yeah.
Where you have to feel as if that, you or, in that vein, usually I can't. I struggle to come up with an example of when this is not the case. But with that type of mindset, it's usually self-centered.
Yeah.
So like they believe that like whatever race they belong to is the superior one. Because it wouldn't lend well. Like Uncle Ruckus is a rare breed, man.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I guess the reason that I'm asking this is I'm trying to understand the relationship between wanting something to be true and being 100% confident in the thing. Is there a real relationship there?
Well, you know what? The relationship between need and desire kind of factors into this. Like, I want what I want, but do I need it?
Okay.
Like, do I want it to be true? Is it true? Should we be 100% about it? I mean, on some levels, this is subjective, but it's also context sensitive, man.
Okay.
You know, like I want that cloud to be shaped like my breakfast. It would make me happy to believe that.
That's
it?
True.
No.
Right.
That's not banana shaped.
And you're not confident at all that that's true.
Yeah, exactly not.
Right.
But I really want to believe it because it would make me really, really happy if that cloud was banana shaped right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or the Earth, for that matter. You know, cue Monty Python. That's how we know the Earth to be banana shaped. Like,
okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So based off of all of this, right now, we started the conversation and you felt a certain way about that confidence level. Is it still the same?
Is it the same?
100%? Is it 100% confident after the conversation we had, or?
As far as the Earth being alive, no. You know, I'll amend it to 99.9 because that makes more logical sense.
Okay.
Because skepticism has to have a place.
All right.
You know, and there are certain things where I will say no. And, you know, to kind of bring up a semi-controversial topic like what's happening in Gaza, 100% wrong. 100% shouldn't be happening. Period. End of story. There is 99.9% about that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That would be an interesting claim to maybe explore in the future.
Yeah, like individuals who think that mass murder is right.
Yeah.
Are particular types of people.
Yeah, certain moral claims it seem like that you really have to take harder stances against them. But this seems more like a...
And again, like arguing the nature of harm.
Yeah.
You know? Or the necessary evil, which I don't believe is a thing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Brian. I appreciate the conversation.
Thank you. Wade?
Quaid.
Yep, thank you, Quaid. I really appreciate you guys being here. And David, this has been really fucking awesome.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for the topic. That was a great topic to explore, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I think about that stuff a lot, so.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Interesting to explore.
There's a young woman.
Yeah, sorry if I kept you too long.
No, well, the only thing it kept me from was a girl that I saw earlier that was giving me this eye all the way down the quad. And she is gone now, but that is okay.
You could have ran away.
I prioritize different things in my head.
Okay.
But I'm sure I will run into her again.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we might be here later on in the week, so if you see us again, feel free to stop by. Maybe we could talk about Gaza or something else as well.
Cool. Sounds great. All
Thanks,
right, Quaid.
Brian.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks again,
David.
That's great.
Yeah. Oh, it was fucking awesome. I agree. Y'all have a great day.
Yeah, you
You
too.
too.
Oh, I will. Thanks.
Hey.
Okay. How long was that?
That
was like 35 minutes or something.
Good guess. 32.
Okay.
I usually try to do like a debrief right after, while it's still fresh in your brain.
Yeah.
That was awesome. That
Yeah.
was great.
Yes.
How do you feel?
At the end, I liked it, but to me, it was a long time getting there. And you know, that's a part of it is because I wasn't exactly sure what questions to ask, or I was asking them incorrectly. And then I think he's very passionate about the topics. We had a lot of things that he wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
And so I think between those two things, it made it longer than it had to be. But I mean, to me, we got to a great place.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
sometimes the journey's longer, but it's just as worth it, you know?
Hey, 100 to 99
Yeah.
is huge.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
With a lot of beliefs and a lot of people, like that's I think not 100 to 99 can seem like a bigger shift than 99 and 98 or even 90.
Yeah.
And I thought you did it awesome. I thought you did awesome. Like, yeah, okay, so we don't understand it. We have no way to tell. We don't have the right tools, yet you're at 100.
Yeah. Yep. And then also, you know, lots of people want things to be true. What's the relationship between wanting it to be true and being confident that it's true? Yeah.
I'm 100% confident that it's true because I want it to be true.
Yeah. Yeah, but morality, you know, the place that it ended to me is sort of more interesting because it is one of those things. Morality, I think, is more difficult. That was more of a descriptive claim. So it's, you know, is the earth alive or not? That seems more just based in reality. Whereas if you ask, you know, is it okay to commit genocide? Is something that people, they're,
Yeah.
you know, what test can you run?
Right.
It gets difficult, and you're probably not going to get people to back down from it as easily.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, maybe he'll want to talk again sometime.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be interesting to see. But yeah, I mean, it is, you know, it's funny because, you know, to me, I spend most of my time not thinking about this stuff anymore just because it doesn't help me.
Mm-hmm.
But when I do think about it, I'm very like, I kind of just have fun with my imagination. So I'm like, yeah, sure, maybe everything's true. But there are a lot of studies that he was talking about. Some of them I've heard debunked before, but some of them I don't know that they've been debunked. So, you know, communication through trees, or I think there was just what was it? There's some type of like algae or something that like basically we know they have a language and we just don't know what they're saying yet. But at least as far as I understand, linguists are saying that it looks like language. And so there's stuff like that where I'm just like, that's strange. I don't know what's going on there exactly.
Yeah.
You know, or, you know, some of the things he said, like animals just seeming to do things that we usually only apply to humans, like showing great feats of empathy and understanding and acknowledgement.
Yeah.
I mean, it is interesting. That, to me, that's all different though than is the Earth alive?
Yeah. Yeah.
But, you know, I don't. That's where I thought the definition of alive might get us to a certain place. You know, a certain point.
Sure. Yeah.
Um,
Defining terms.
yeah, defining the term, yeah, of alive, and then, you know, he made it like experiencing breathing, which I'm like, is the Earth breathing?
Right.
I don't know. It's just a weird. I guess it's a weird thing. It's hard to talk about maybe as a human.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, next time he's that confident in something that he wants to be true, he might think about it a little bit more deeply.
Yeah, that would. Yeah, that's definitely. He's definitely a passionate person.
Yeah.
So I think those are the people that should think about it the most, because you can understand the passion. It makes perfect sense. It seems he's really concerned about the environment and the earth, and it's like, yeah, those are things that at least I agree that you should be concerned about. But the relationship between our passion and, you know, our confidence in it being true, I think there might be some ways it could get us in trouble if we make that link too strong.
Cool. You want to try to get another one?
Yeah, sure.
Anything else you want to say before I cut the cameras?
Nope.
It's cool.
Good for me.
Nice work.
Yeah, thanks, David. Appreciate it.